Let's try to. This this device was outside. It's just not focused well. I don't know what its issue is. Just a moment, everyone. Let's be unprofessional. Well, that helped a little bit, but yes, it was outside and all of the commotion, so it must have got smudged because that's a lot better. It needed the end of my shirt. Yeah, Ernie's still alive, but I thought I'd go live for just a little bit because I can kind of fit it in my day. I said I was going to make another video at dark. Well, it's dark now, and the stand has fled. Yes, the stand has left the building. So we'll let some people come in and we will talk about it. Hear a cat fight in the kitchen. Hello, Mountain Violet. Hello, Libby. Hello, Princess. Hello, Rosie. Hello, Half Pint. Yeah, so, Jimbo. Hello, Sky Watching. Sky Watching? I mean, I'm just sitting on my property. In fact, the deputy sheriff did come. And he really wants to talk to Jimbo. But the stand fled. Now, the stand called the cops, and the cops told the stand to stand there. But he didn't, he fled. Yes, when law enforcement came, he fled. He fled. He called the cops and then ran away before they could get here when he was told to stay here. Well, he said he was going to come down my road sky watching, and I went out that road and he never did come. He went down the road at a neighbor's house and called the cops. And then when the cops got here, he was gone. And the cops told him to stay. And the cops want to talk to him. The deputy really, really, really wanted to talk to him. He was a cool dude, too. I mean, I hadn't met this one before, but yeah, he was a cool guy. I mean, we sat and talked a while, and we enjoyed a laugh, and he told me what I should be doing. Because this is the funny part, is the deputy sheriff seemed to be a lot more offended by it all than me. And I was the one being threatened. So this was the very interesting thing, and why I have to talk about this, because yes, that deputy sheriff seemed to be a lot more annoyed about all this than I am. Which, that does not bode well for Jimbo. Now, that's as far as we will talk about that. That part of it anyway. Yes, that's as far as we do, and once again, there is a good chance there will be repercussions for Jimbo's actions. Hello, Topacoma. Oh, Tennessee Rose. Everyone loves a pussy. I mean, even lesbians like a good pussy. No, I was here to fight, and the only thing he could do is go down the street and call the cops. I didn't call the cops. I didn't call a cop one. Jimbo called the cops. Rather than fight me, Jimbo called the cops. I even told the cop he wanted some mutually assured combat, and I said, come down here and I'll whip your ass. Cop was fine with that, by the way. You know, for you city folk, yes, I mean, once again, he asked how all this started, and I told the cop the exact truth. And see, this is Kentucky. If we are allowed to have mutually mutual come here summer. There's the summer. Oh, no. They don't get to see the summer as much. Summer says, I'm busy. Aren't you? Summer busy. Summer's too busy for us. Yes, she is. Now, if you're wondering why summer's too busy for us, there's 3 of these. Yes, there's 3 of these. And they all have no tail. Yes, Summer had 3 little summers. And anybody that wants to come to Kentucky can have a kitten. Here you go, Summy. I've got a nest down here I showed in a short. Oh, the kitty keeps grabbing. She said, oh. But yes, Summer has 3 little tiny summers sitting right down there. I did not threaten to do anything to his daughter. I did say that if he brings his son to my house, I will break his arm. I did say that. And I meant it. I did not threaten his daughter in any way. And you can suck my dick for saying that. Now, I don't have any mods in here, and I can take you out myself. But do you have any other false allegation you want to say, you stupid bitch? I mean, I part-time YouTube. I mean, I don't do the professional YouTuber thing anymore, and I haven't since I started this channel. Because if I'm doing the professional YouTuber, there is an 8 to 12 minute video every day. Hello, James. Well, you see, they just make it up. Well, Christina, if you can get here, you can have a little summer. Like I say, I got 3 of them here. Let me see a summer for each hand. Yeah, let me see a summer for each hand. See a summer for each hand. Look, they're bookends. And they all have no tail. They says, we don't want to be YouTube famous. Hello, YTS. YTS, there is some trash that needs taken out. So if you scroll up in chat, start dinging the stupid people. Yes, YTS, Jimbo Collins came to kill me today, and he's in trouble, and now he's making up accusations that I threatened to S-hay his daughter. I mean, Jimbo, you're the one that fucks children. You know, we have that proved. You know, 12 is 12, Jimbo. You're the only kid fucker. And I didn't even tell the cop that part. I mean, if I had told the cop that part, he probably would have went and got Jimbo. Hello, Christy. Hello, Gray Gray. Hello, traders. But I mean, he thinks he's going to come and intimidate me because he had a gun. And that's why he ran away. Because you see, Jimbo has a gun that he traded pills for. And it's very likely that Jimbo's gun is hot, where Roger's gun is not hot. And Jimbo's got 9mm is hot as a fucking firecracker. So he was afraid to see the cops because if they would have found the stolen gun, he would have went to jail. He was told to stay and talk to the cop. He did not. And then he claimed Nicolina swatted him. No, Nicolina told them you had an unregistered 9mm, which doesn't actually matter in this state. But what it did tell me by you running real quick is that your gun is hot. And you were afraid of going to jail for a long time, so you took off like the little bitch you were. And Jimbo, like I said, ever show up on my property, I will cancel you like cop rock. If anything happens here, I will go after everyone you love. If anything randomly happens on this property, you had better check your brake lines every time you get in your car for the rest of your life. That I can promise you. That if anything here happens on this property, yes, you will need to check your brake lines every time you get in your car. Mean that too. Hello, Sailor. I mean, I still have to laugh. I mean, on Ernie's panel earlier, I wanted to stay on Ernie's live for a while, but I just, now and then I just start thinking about it and I just lose it on how stupid he is. I mean, we now can prove in court that if there's any trauma in his family, it's all because of him. And he had his boy, Hunter, with him the first night. And he said Hunter had the gun. And this is why, when I see Hunter, I will break his arm. Now, he'll be 18 after I do that. But anyone that draws a weapon against me or brings a weapon to hunt me, I'm at least going to break a limb. Because I roll that way. And you know what? Like I said, the cop here was fine with me saying is, yeah, and I told him to come here and I will whip his ass. Yep, like I said, the cop was absolutely fine with it. This is Kentucky. You know, we're allowed to do mutually assured fisticuffs if that's what both parties want. Okay, Pindar. Hello, Zip. I mean, but yes, I'm sorry, everyone. Where normally, even when I do really good jokes, I try to keep a straight face. Not today. I mean, after I talked to that cop, I mean, he had me laughing. I mean, seriously. You know, usually I'm the one making people laugh. Not when I was talking to the cop. I mean, the cop had me cracking up. I mean, I'm trying to think of how to actually put it in understanding, but put it this way. I was being thoroughly entertained. Jimbo thought that it was going to scare me or something, but I mean, that was probably the best conversation I had in a long time. Hello, Katie. Hello, Smelly. Now, Jimbo called me Smelly Cat today. I'm like, no, I'm not Smelly Cat. I'm Roger. Smelly Cat's my mod. Well, the thing is, Jimbo wouldn't come over here. I mean, he went to the neighbor's house and he called the cops. You know, Ernie's program today. So once again, I knew he would be bullshit. So when Ernie went on, I sat on Ernie's panel. And then he didn't call the cops until after Ernie's program. He was trying to lure me off the property to shoot me. It wasn't going to work. With his illegal gun. You see, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to pull his hot 9mm on me. And if so, I would have took that pistol and ended him. Because anyone that draws a gun on me, I will end them. That fucking quick. Boom. That fast. 1, 2, you're through. Milton, you little dumbass. Melton, you're a stupid ass. Melton. Melton, he ran and called the cops. And the cops came, Melton, and I talked to the cops. Because you see here, the cops like me, Melton. All I have to do is play by their rules. And once again, I asked the deputy sheriff, what are my ground rules? And I got my ground rules. I mean, this is why I live in Kentucky, Melton. I mean, here isn't like your weird ass bullshit places that you lived. Here, they may not be completely educated. They may not be non-corrupt, but usually they're damn reasonable. Oh, man, Milton. Smelly got you, Milton. Smelly got you. You dumbass. What did I knock up? Oh, I knocked off my other phone. It's on the charge. Because, like I say, I'm still laughing. Now, what I want to know, and now Jimbo comes up trying to say, you threatened to essay my daughter, blah, 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 blah. I mean, this is what he has to go to. Now, that also is actionable. You see, he didn't realize what he's doing. But by him saying that, you see, c'est la vie is in another state. Jimbo and I are in the same jurisdiction. That means we have a different set of rules. You see, I covered Amberlyn Reed. Amberlyn Reed was just up the road on the other side of Somerset. So I had to be very careful covering Amberlyn Reed. Because once again, we went by the same laws. And Jimbo and I have to obey the same laws too. So this isn't just internet bullshit anymore to the law. You see, this is where he utterly fucked up. He thinks he's dealing with Nicolina when him and I, we have to follow the same laws. And as I said, the law was not very happy with him calling and them and taking off. Hello, Derveet. Okay, I mean, Melton don't watch anything. I mean, he's distracted with a large green thing in his butt. But he can do him. But, you know, I'm sure it makes his street walking much more easier. Considering he could fit a baton up there by now. You hear that, Melton? I just made fun of your rectum. Yes, I did. Now, Melton, you got my address too. Why aren't you here to kill me? I mean, Jimbo showed up to kill me and then got cold feet. Yes, Jimbo showed up to kill me, got cold feet, called the cops, and run away. I mean, he will never YouTube live this down. Every time where he wants to say he's a tough guy, anyone can just state my name and everyone will laugh. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you call the cops, you come to my house, you call the cops, and you run away. Now, once again, I know he ran away because that gun he's got is illegal. Because, I mean, it's not hard here to get an illegal gun. Just saying. Once again, I make sure that all of my firearms are legal firearms. But Jimbo isn't that way. I will pay the extra money of what the gun is worth to have a gun that has not been stolen. Jimbo isn't that kind of guy. He goes on whatever the discount special is. It's like those TVs and shit. I mean, he trades fucking pills for it all. So what? A junkie will steal a TV. He'll give him some pills for it, and then he'll hand hunt her a big giant fucking TV. That's what the kind of shit he does. I mean, if I gave up living clean, I could live a lower upper class lifestyle. All I'd have to do is commit crime, and I don't. I could probably, if I went back into crime, I could probably pull down 50 to 60K a year. No shit. It would probably take about 2 years to get up to that amount. But if I went back into crime, I could probably pull 50 to 60K with most of the time sitting on my ass. Well, Christine, my birthday, what is today? 26th. My birthday is in a week. Yep. 4 more days in this month, and mine's the 3rd of next month. So yes, my birthday is 7 days from now. So my birthday is 2 days after yours. And I have a kitty over here. This one. I got almost no sleep last night because of this thing. This is Autumn's baby. This is Summer's grandbaby. And it too has no tail. And it's going to be my friend. And it slept with me all night. And it sucked on my earlobe. And I got about 15 minutes sleep in about 4 to 5 increments. Because for 7 hours, this kitten was on my chest, sucking on this earlobe as I tried to sleep. And this is a little girl. This is Summer's granddaughter. And I have not named any of them yet. But she's busy now. She's busy playing. Because that's what Summer did as a baby. She grabbed everything. And all the other kitties came in this room. This room is their bedroom. But she had to go in the other bedroom and sleep with me. So I expect that she will come sleep with me tonight. And I'll get about another 15 minutes sleep. I don't know if she's sunshine, though. I mean, she's a grumpy fuck. I mean, where Summer as a baby was completely quiet. I mean, that cat's vocal. I mean, she's being quiet right now, but she'll make a lot of noise, put it that way. She's just going in different directions on the floor. All the other kittens are laid down somewhere, and she's just like going in different directions like this. Now she's climbing the chair. Like I said, she don't know what to do. Now she's coming back up here. Now you saw that she wanted me to put her down. She ran across the floor for a little while, couldn't find no one. So now she's back here with me. Now, she's got the snout of her mother Autumn. And the rest of her looks just like little tiny Summer. What you doing, baby? Jimbo, not even your dogs love you. And you know what I thought of? Jimbo's dogs really don't love him either. I mean, he always yells for Thelma to take care of him. How much do you want to bet that Jimbo's own dogs wouldn't eat him up? I think it would be funny. You know, yes, I do. But, I mean, Jimbo's stupid, but he ran. I mean, he's going to try to rewrite history all he wants. But he called the cops and he ran. You remember, like with his neighbor's dog, he sent his wife and his kid and screamed, "I'll call the cops, I'll call the cops." That's what he wanted to do here. You know, he wanted to get his son's ass whipped and to call the cops. And I'd have been more than happy to whip his boy's ass. Just saying. Yep. Hello. How are you doing, Abby? Well, it's okay. It's just Milton. Milton has my address too, and if Milton wants to come kill me, he can take a shot at it. I mean, I grew up on Vine Street in Cincinnati. You see, I grew up in an environment when you walked out of the house every day, there was no guarantee you were coming home. And I lived the first 28 years of my life where I could walk out the house every day and there was a mathematical chance I would be killed. Now, these bumpkins, I don't think quite understand that. To me, the walking out the door and having a chance to be killed is normal. It is the way it's supposed to be. Now, unfortunately for Jimbo, if his kids ever get involved in drugs, I'll make sure they get set up and go to jail. Yep. So he better keep his kids' nose clean because I know all the bad guys. Yes, I do. And once again, I have pretty good social skills. Yes, I do. And there's a lot of people that I can make offers they can't refuse. You see, Jimbo can throw out a few pills and run his mouth, but yeah, I mean, Jimbo, it would be best for you if you moved. Yes, at this point, I kind of think that you've wore your welcome out in Kentucky, and it would be best if you took your little inbred clan to some place where there's a new gene pool. Well, YouTube schizophrenic, I didn't say it, but that was the fact. I mean, he said, walk the road. I mean, I even walked the road, but once again, he got here and was trying to draw me way down the road so I could be assaulted. Or he could attack me with a car. And anyone that tries to run me over, I will empty the clip into them. Because that's exactly what a cop would do if you were trying to run over a cop. If you try to run over a cop, what do they do? You see, as long as I stay within lawful bounds, I can do whatever the hell I want. Unfortunately, Jimbo could not stay within lawful bounds. I guess that's why he has a criminal record and I don't. Now, since he had all that theft, why does Jimbo have a gun? Could it be that Jimbo does not have the right to have a firearm? Because if you are a felon in the state of Kentucky, you can't carry that gun around. You're not even allowed to possess it. Yep. So, Jimbo, are you a felon? Did you have a hot gun too? I bet Jimbo's not only a felon not allowed to have a gun, I bet he had a hot gun because I bet Jimbo can't buy a gun legally. He was tricked. Oh man, I mean, he was tricked into going there. But by who? A wascally wabbit? Ugh. Was he tricked by Coca-Cola? I almost spit that up laughing, everyone. For the record. That probably would have made a funny clip because, yes, I almost laughed and Coke almost went, and it would have looked really bad like on the camera. Oh man, I mean this is just hilarious. But yes, I did say that I would come back on YouTube at dark. In my video, I was just going to do a video, but I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I just come and hang out just for a little while with everyone and point out that Jimbo came here, called the cops, and run away. And like I said, the cops are very nice. I mean, I really like the cop. I mean, I think he was a cool dude. And I usually don't say that about cops. I don't, but yeah, he was a cool guy. I mean, he and I had a good talk, and he was madder about all of this than I was. Well, evidently, see, what Milton and them don't understand is hexes don't work against me. I mean, it's just that way. What are we doing over here, you monster? That little baby, I mean, she's still just wound up. I don't know if you hear it, but she's like destroying my house behind me. She's this big, but she makes enough noise like a giant fucking dog. What are you doing, sweetie? What are you grabbing? Oh, you're grabbing my coat. She's climbing the back of the chair and she's grabbing my coat. Because I put it there yesterday because it was kind of cold and it's been warm since then. Sweet Katie, I mean, I'm a professional when it comes to combat. I don't get animated when I'm in combat. I am completely level head. Excuse me. It's why I win. But yes, Katie, I grew up on Vine Street in Cincinnati in the 1970s and the early 1980s. It was a very dangerous place. I used to go to Over the Rhine back when it was a different place than it is now. It was the most dangerous neighborhood in Cincinnati. And I used to do business there. So I would actually be in the most dangerous spot and have a large amount of money on me. Because there's no one that could take that money. Because when I was a young man, I said they do not build the human fucking being that could take that money away from me. Well, my old cat, Tiger, he's old. And he's now kind of retired as the alpha. Now Magnus is the alpha. And before I could get them segregated, Magnus went and knocked up all of the girls. So I have 3 cats with litters: Richella, Autumn, and Summer. And I need to find these guys home. And now, 7 of them, the 2 litters, they're all ready for homes. These guys will be ready in about 3 weeks. But the others are ready right now, and there's some really cool kitties. And as you can see, no tail. She says, okay, I'll put you back, sweetie. I'll put you back. I'll put you back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize, little baby. Hello, Grace. But yes, but yes, Grace. Summer has 3 of these with no tail. And are you gonna cry, honey? You baby? We love you. You got words to say? They just got their eyes open in the last couple days. So seeing is new to that little kitty. And Richella's over here nursing her a bunch of the older ones. Come here, honey. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Says, no, I'm playing. Oh, you're playing, are you? Well, I'm going to play then too. And you are one of Rotella's. And you're a something. Yes, you're a something. I'm not sure what you are, but you're a something. But this is what I've been doing these last weeks. And in the last 4 days, well, no, I think take it back to last week. These kitties has decided that I am the greatest thing ever. You want to do what you want. Now, this is the trick I do with her mommy. Hold her out and let her stretch. You want to do as your mommy does? She says, no, not yet. So I got fart. Ew. Everyone, I gave the kitties wet food, the babies, and that baby just let a fart right in my fucking face. So if you see me like this, yes, it's because it's stuck in my nose. So you can feel free to laugh at me because, yeah. Yes, that sweet little kitty just farted in my face. And man, that was disgusting. Let me be honest. You know, sometimes you have YouTube bloopers. And man, that blooper stunk. Oh. Well, yes, Grace, it was the Stan came to my home to try to attack me, and he went to the neighbor's house and called the cops. Now, he's come hunting me with a gun before, Grace. And then I got myself a really nice pistol after that. And he came to my house to try to threaten me with a gun today. And when he found out I was armed, he went to the neighbor's house, called the police. The police told him to stay, and then he ran away. And his channel is The Stand. I mean, he doesn't stand, he sits. And when the cops told him to stay there, he ran away. And I had a nice talk with the deputy sheriff, and he was a really cool dude. And he had me laughing. I mean, normally I'm the guy that is supposed to make everyone else laugh. But I mean, that deputy sheriff, he had me rolling. He's a better comedian than I am. Well, a little bit. I mean, but see, this is one of the reasons why Roger's a special YouTuber. Now, I live in a special place. Now, for those that don't know it, I did not intentionally come to YouTube. No, I did not. My therapist wanted me to. And there was a YouTuber that wanted me to do YouTube because I live near Amberlyn Reed. And I could debunk all of her bullshit. And that's how my first channel started. It had over 3,000 subscribers. And at the moment that I figured out that Amberlyn Reed was just lying and doing all of this just to get money, just the same thing over and over again, it really didn't leave much commentary for me to talk about. So I thought, well, I kind of guess we're done here. And that's what most of the people were tuning in for, was for me to poo-poo the fat chick. And she used to call now her crowd, she had over 100,000 subscriber channel, and they used to call the cops on me on a ritual basis. And the cops never came. And the only reason why they came this time is because Jimbo went right next to my house and called. And all that did was get Jimbo in trouble. Well, now, in the last argument I lost was with my therapist. I didn't want to do YouTube. She wanted me to do YouTube. We fought and argued for an hour. And then at the end, I said, okay, I'll do YouTube. She was surprised that she won. I mean, I fought it to the last second of the session. And because in reality, she won the debate by points. And she said, Roger, you are the most interesting person I know. And she meant that. And I was flattered by it. All honesty. And I was pushed into doing YouTube. Oh, man, this is a whole different land. I mean, this is Kentucky. I mean, Jimbo Collins is of a nowhere family from Harlan County. My family, we have shit named after us. You know, there's a fire station down the road with my family name on it, named after my great uncle. Now, a little known Roger fact, my grandfather was a twin. So the fire station is named after my grandfather's twin. I mean, my family were in dirty politics. I've never been in a court case here that's not been fixed in my favor. I mean, anybody that thinks about equal justice under the law, good luck with that. I mean, I look at the justice system completely different than you do. I mean, I am a protected person here. And Jimbo thought that he was going to come here and start trouble with someone who's from a political family. Our state senator was my father's childhood best friend. And I know every single embarrassing thing that he wouldn't want the world to know about. So, you know, once again, if I ever you needed to say, it would really be nice, and I'll forget that I know all of it. I mean, I could do that, but the thing is Jimbo just screwed himself. Well, Harlan is a shithole. I mean, it's ghetto Kentucky. Before I was a caregiver, I used to work for the state highway department on the road. And we used to get trainees from Harlan County. And getting trainees from other counties was normal. But when you asked them where you're from, they would put their head down and mumble Harlan because they were that much ashamed of it. I live about an hour from Tennessee. I live about an hour from Lexington. And I live about 2 hours from Cincinnati. And I was born in Cincinnati. And my family was from up the road in Kentucky. Both my parents were from around here. You see, Jimbo don't know it, but where he's at, that's where all of my mother's families is from. I mean, there are little cousinlings all around Jimbo, and he don't know it. I guarantee that he knows many of my mother's people and don't even know it. I hate my mother's people. Let's be honest. Now, on my father's side of my family, everyone is dead. And if anyone from my mother's family was to show up here, they would get the business end of the shotgun. And they knew it. There's Richella. She's come to join us. And as you see, there's now a goblin. Grace, this is the one that I showed you. In the DM picture, this is the baby. And she's up here. And now, this isn't Richella's kitten. This is Autumn's kitten. But the kitten don't care. Yes, the kitten doesn't care at all. Well, she'll be 7 weeks this Friday. Yep, she will. Like I said, she'll be 7 weeks this Friday. Her still a little baby. Now let's see her eyes. They're changing yet? They're starting to change. They're starting to go green. But they're still kind of blue. Now, yesterday they were still blue. But today they're starting to get more green in them. Aren't they, honey? Now, let me see this. Now, the thing with a Manx, their back legs are bigger than their front, as you can see right here. And it gives them great hopping ability. And she sucked on my earlobe almost all last night. I'm sorry, kitty, but I mean, I got a little tiny bit of sleep because you sat right here. She slept right here and sucked on my earlobe the entire night. Oh, kitty, you fell, honey. I'm sorry. She was in my hand and did a little hop thing, and here you go, honey. I just wanted to show you off. But yeah, I mean, she's just, hello, cat. I mean, she's the most, she's not the smartest kitty. You okay, Chella? He says, leave me alone. She's tired of the kittens, aren't you, honey? But yes, this is Richella, Summer's baby. And she's named after Richella, the YouTuber, because when she was born, I didn't have a name for him. And Richella, the YouTuber, asked me, can you name one after me? And I said, sure. Well, I have a way with animals. And in fact, I have more to do with animals than I do human beings. Now, what Jimbo doesn't understand is my neighbors and I talk to each other and we watch each other's backs. I mean, nobody's getting in here into my property and not be known. Now, Jimbo is the kind of guy that if he can get someone else to attack me, he would. But as I said, I grew up on Vine Street in Cincinnati where you could walk out the door and be attacked for no reason on any given day. Oh, yes, Gray. In fact, that little girl that I just showed a minute ago, she was playing with the balls in my bed last night. Now, that's the last time I saw the balls. But, you know, that little kitty, all the others were in here, and she played with the balls in bed, so I'm sure they're somewhere around my bedroom. And, I mean, at this point, they're like all over the house. This was the room that they were raised in. Now, I've got a 3-bedroom place. Now, one of my bedrooms I turned into a library. This is a game room / streaming room. And then I sleep on a couch in the master bedroom. Now, in the library, I do have a bed, and I'll use that in the winter. But that's typically the only time that I actually sleep on a regular bed. Lost my kitty balls anyway. Well, I did too, Grace. I mean, when I was young your age, that was one of my wants. I need my own place because I wanted a library. And from 18 to 28, I worked my butt off. You know, both good works and bad works to buy myself a place. And then I have my library. And over the years, for that 10 years, I accrued some books and put them in my closet. Because once again, Goodwill and places like that, sometimes you can find some really good old books. Actually, Grace, that is a hard question. But my favorite series is called the Elric Saga. Now, one of my kitties, as most people here know, our name is named Elric. And it's named after the main character. Now, the Elric Saga was made by an author called Michael Moorcock. And it is a fantasy swords and sorcery type deal. Now, Elric was not a human being. He was of a race called Melnibonian. And they were like an elf, but not. Now, they were pretty evil in a way. They were, well, you could call them wicked sorceress elves. And it's a classic series. And once again, here's Summer. Bunch of Summer. And I had Summer for about a little more than a year before I started YouTube. And Summer's about middle age now. It's old, Grace. I mean, it predates me. It does. Because, see, in the 1960s, they had science fiction and fantasy magazines, and they would have original stories. And I'm sure you heard of Isaac Asimov. You know, he is a famous author. These magazines is where he got his start and his robot story started. They started as serials of magazines. And this is what the Elric saga started off as. And like I say, it's well known in science fiction, but science fantasy. But if you're not into that genre, you would have no idea. But it's very 1960s. Well, YouTube schizophrenic, you just got to start. You just fill one shelf at a time. And that's all it is. You got to start with one shelf. And, when I moved into here, I probably only had enough books for a shelf and a half. Until I was 28, I probably got about a shelf and a half. And now I have more than I can display. This closet right here I'm pointing at, the entire top of it is just completely full of books I don't have on shelves. Every way, Grace. I mean, I would always get books. However, now, once again, I did find Goodwill to be a good resource. Now, there's also a place here called God's Helping Hands. Now, it's a cool place. If anyone can get good clothes there and books cheap. Now, it's great. This is going to be a culture shock to Grace. But I can get a garbage bag full of good clothes and books for $4. I can get 2 of those every other month if I was to go to this place. And they're good clothes and they're good books. But a lot of the books are when people die, their books end up going to God's helping hands. So you never know what kind of book is going to be there. I got all sorts of books on languages. I took German in school, but I knew a little Latin, but I always wanted to know Latin. And I went into Goodwill, and sure enough, there was a ton of Latin textbooks. So I was able to, like 50 cents a piece, get all of the Latin textbooks to learn the language. Well, it's good. It's what it's what our language is based on. English is mostly French and some Scandinavian, but it was everyone's attempt at Latin. Oh, I have to laugh. I mean, now we should be nice in chat. But man, face it, you have an abrasive personality and you have women issues. I mean, I learned let the women have their way. I mean, a Roger fact. Now, my current girlfriend is an angel. But because YouTube sucks so bad, I couldn't tell YouTube. I mean, it sucked. She doesn't come from our community, but she watches all of my stuff for, well, over a year. Now, I did lose one of my lolcows. In fact, in a private DM, Grace, there's, you many times covering YouTube, you have to polish your form. Now, I do know a person that you can cover, gain subscribers, polish your form, and pee on Original Al all at the same time. Her name was Love Notes for TLC. Now, virtually everyone in here knows who I'm talking about. Her name was Leticia Collins Servin, and she was a nutburger. But yes, now, as a shot, well, she was going to be the next big thing. She's got a channel of 10,000 subscribers, but she's in jail. So you don't have to worry about her striking you, because Leticia is not getting out of jail in a long, long time. In fact, Grace, I expect that you will probably have children before Leticia gets out of jail. And that's why you can cover anything on her channel and you will never have to worry about it being struck. Okay, yeah, I was going to type the channel name, but YouTube Schizophrenic did that right there. Well, I used to cover her. You know, that was one of the big things that I did is, you know, I used to be covering her. Now, Adonis Paul, he also was covering her. Now, I've known Original Al since I started YouTube. Now, there was a YouTuber called Negs. Now, you see DC or Media Girl is now his girlfriend. I know her too. But this is ironic. Original Al attacks Negs now, and that's how I met her. Negs from the YouTube Underground introduced me to Original Al when, you know, I was the fresh, brand new YouTuber on the block. So, I mean, that was kind of odd. Oh, yeah, Grace. I mean, she was insane. She was schizophrenic. She was also pregnant. And she was also threatening to murder her baby. Again and again and again and again and again. Now, Original Al's people will watch any Leticia content. So, once again, Love Notes TLC will be a safe place for you to refine some of your skill, get new subscribers, and you can also outdo Original Al in commentary. Now, once again, I was going to tell you this in private, but, you know, it's a whole lot easier and quicker if I just say it right here, right now. Well, Al can be nice, Ben. But you know what? She's also a professional YouTuber that is here for cash. You know, she was always a professional YouTuber. You are meat to her. And that's it. But now, like I say, I have a few ideas. Now, Grace, once more, growing a YouTube channel, YouTube really likes daily content. I mean, they do. And that's why I always used to have a video every day. Now, one thing that I think that you could do is music reactions. You know, if you wanted to do quick videos, you know, like I say, the algorithm likes a channel to promote every day. It's just what YouTube likes. So when I want to channel build, you will see I will have a video every day. And in my thought, music reactions might be something that you could farm out, gain new subscribers, and have a good time. Well, like I say, these were things that I was going to tell Grace in private DM, but, you know, there's nothing secret that anyone here doesn't need to know. I mean, I wouldn't say anything in private to Grace that I wouldn't say in public. You know, that's part of being a gentleman. So, yes, that's what I was thinking. I mean, Love Notes TLC would be a good place. And, once again, on my chat here also, the other thing is the YouTube Schizophrenic. He and I have known each other on YouTube for years. The YouTube schizophrenic was just a YouTube watcher. And then a creator named Deity started attacking him. And then he had to become a creator to defend himself. Well, the YouTube schizophrenic, he is a fair and impartial interviewer. He many times will interview controversial people with the most fair interview in the universe. So my other bit of advice, and it does help me a little bit too, once again, be honest. If you want to get your story out there with an impartial interviewer, I would suggest the YouTube schizophrenic. I'm a mod in his channel. He's a mod in mine. We've been friends for a long time. He came to YouTube just to watch YouTube, and then he ended up, like me, having to become a creator. So, that is my advice. I mean, once again, he would give you a fully fair interview. He'll ask a few pointed questions, but he won't be adversarial. He'll get to the bottom of it. But once again, you can get your story out in a non-adversarial fashion if you just have an interview with him. Oh, what did Carlos have to say? Carlos, how can I be chicken? I mean, he's the one that called the cops and ran away. But yes, Grace, like I say, he's my personal friend, and I confide in him. Once again, I have a policy. Grace might not know this, but everything that I say and do outside of YouTube stays private. You will never see on this channel any form of a DM. No, because everything that is said to me outside of YouTube stays in confidence. And I can definitely say the YouTube schizophrenic and I have had the most interaction outside of YouTube, and never once has any of us ever let anything slip that was said in confidence. But those are my advice. And now and then I can come on your panel and be a bit entertaining for you. Now, the other thing, Grace, is you kind of need to go hang out places and learn the lay of the land. Now, think about it, Grace. You're a YouTube explorer. You really need to kind of learn the faces. You need to learn the people, and you need to learn the names. Now, one thing for me is I almost know everyone. Now, jokingly, I do say I know everyone. Now, that isn't factual, but there is an uncommon amount of time that I do know whoever the person in question is. As I said, I've been around these drama streets for just a little while. Well, yes, Gregory. I mean, I'm a Southerner. I mean, if I'm whipping your ass, I'm not even going to say rude words. It would just be a waste of energy. I mean, there's no reason why we can't be civilized. Now, that was always what I said. And in the movie 300, when Leonidas is eating an apple and says, we can be civilized, and then the guy runs the spear through him. I mean, that was classic. And by the way, I've got a big spear in the other room too. Just for Jimbo. Well, like I said, Grace, now today on Ernie Shell's channel, That's where all the action was today. And Jimbo's the stand and Nicolina was live. So, but see, a lot of times you'll learn when drama's going on. Now, many times you can get subscribers for just being around the drama. I mean, for example, my channel, I've gained over 40 subscribers today. So far. Yep. And I have to laugh about it all. But, unfortunately, drama sells. I can do intellectual talks. I can talk about things other than drama. But that is what people do prefer. And that's also why I thought, now you are good at being a commentator, Grace. You just haven't worked your way into it yet. Now, what I realized when I started doing YouTube videos, after about 3 weeks, I watched what I did and I thought, what is my strong point? And I realized it was explaining things. So I have a criteria for my videos. They have to be interesting, informative, or funny. And if my videos, the best video is going to hit all three. But if I cannot hit one of those three criteria in my content, I feel it's better not to do any content. But yes, Grace, but that's kind of what you're needing to do now. Do your thing, but sit and be cognizant of what is my strong points. And then you lean into that. And you will do fine. Now, I think it'll be fun to talk about personal things with you about lives because you're going to be 21 this year. So you were born in 2002. In 2002, my mother became brain damaged and I became a caregiver and my life ended. At the time I was working and I was trying to find a love of my life. But yes, the year you were born, my mother was oxygen deprived in the hospital and she came out brain damaged. And at that point, my life pretty much ended. And it went from a good, happy, profitable life. And for your entire lifetime, it's like I've been getting beat in the head with a stick. And I laugh about it because if we started talking about it, it's all just that horrible. Because in that time, most of my family died. It was just random chance. Either by accident, my father died in an accident. Then old age and some others just turned up with a medical problem. The cousin that was closest to my age, he ended up getting a brain tumor and dying. So I buried everyone. And my father left everything to my mother. And my mother mismanaged everything. And I almost lost everything. And that's why I am in the state that I am in today. And then after my mother passed, I can tell you the day. November 18th, 2015. It was a good day. And I started having seizures out of the blue. And I've had seizures ever since. And that's a part of my life. And I live out here alone. Now, this chair I've got behind me, I've got it designed, the back out of it where I can lay down to where if I have a seizure, you can see where I'm kind of, in a protected area. My YouTube spot right here is basically my safe spot if I was to have a seizure. And in every room, I have a safe spot if I was to have a seizure because I live alone. And I've always lived alone. Now, when my mother died, it was hard. Now, I mean, I'm thinking of this situation, and I have to run it through my mind because this was a horrible moment in my life. My mother's dead. The nursing home is in the middle of taking everything. I mean, I don't have 2 nickels. I went from having money whenever I wanted to not having 2 nickels to rub together. And the guy with the backhoe is trying to blackmail money out of me I don't have. And he was an asshole. So I ended up having to bury my mother with a shovel. And that is something I will never forget. Now, after digging a grave by yourself, it was weird. It worked through a lot. I mean, I was so whipped. I was so hurt and upset. I just kept digging. But I do got to say it. Finally, when I passed out, I felt a lot better. Now, there was a woman there, and that guy that was trying to blackmail me for money, when he was a smart ass and smirked at me, I did tell him that if he said one more word, I was going to unalive him right then and there. And at that time, I meant it. And like I said, that was a sad moment in my life. I mean, I was at the point of a nervous breakdown. I mean, I just had my entire family pass on. I'm just trying to get my mother into the grave, and someone's blackmailing me and being an asshole. I was more than willing to go to jail at that moment. Man, I mean, I've been watching you, and you see, I had shitty parents. Now, you see, I had a Kentucky father. My father was born in 1933. My dad was middle-aged when he had me. But, I mean, my dad was old school, and I hated my father. Now, people on YouTube say you have mommy issues. And I say, no, I don't. I have daddy issues. Because by the time I was in my mid-20s, I could not walk away from that man without saying, I fucking hate you the other way. And after I did that a few times, I'm like, Roger, you need to not do that. And I found that I couldn't stop. And that's when I'm like, shit, I guess this constitutes a daddy issue. I mean, because I could not stop. And till the day I died, about every time I walked away from him, I said, I fucking hate you. Just like that. Ben, you see, my mother was a trophy wife. Now, and I'm not kidding. My mother was, a 1950s trophy wife. And I'm trying to be nice to my mother now that she's dead, but I mean, she could fuck things up beyond human imagination. You see, Ben, I should have had the money for at least 2 businesses and a brand new house. But my mother fucked everything up. It was her gift. So, once again, to frame this, see, at 6 years old, my dad only fed me beans. Not kidding. Every meal, every day, as a child, to the point where I would throw them up. And my dad was, you know what he told me? You don't eat them beans, boy, you ain't eating nothing. And he was true to his fucking word. From 6 years old to 13 years old, I had to come up with my own food. I had clean clothes, a good place to sleep, But as a child, I had to come up with my own food because my father was true to his word. If I wasn't eating them beans, I wasn't eating nothing. And and this is where I think it's funny. My dad said, "You'll miss your dear old dad when he's gone." I don't. He died September 20th, 2001. He died 9 days after 9/11. And he had all of his money in General Electric stock. My dad retired from General Electric. He tested jet engines. And because of the dip of 9/11, my family lost $86,000 because of 9/11. Because you see, the stock plan cashes out at the moment of his death. In 3 months, that $86,000 was back in stock value. But because it cashed out 9 days after 9/11, my family lost 86 grand. Oh, yeah. I mean, my dad lived through the Depression, and he was 12 when World War II was ended. And from down here in Kentucky, he went to Cincinnati. He landed a job at General Electric. And then this is where I laugh at my father. 2 weeks after he got that job, he got drafted and sent to Korea. Now, my dad was a little short guy. I mean, my dad came up to about here to me, well, maybe even less. My mom was taller than my dad. But they put my dad as a tank driver because he was a short little guy. They flipped him in a tank. And my father hated the military. It made me like the military. Because anything that he didn't like, I liked. My father was afraid of snakes. I like snakes. I can handle snakes. Hello, Kaz. But you know, when I went to school as a child, my main goal was to make some money every day to eat. Now, it was a different day. In the neighborhood was people that were World War II generation, the greatest generation. And as a kid, you could do chores for the greatest generation, and they would give you a little bit of money. So from 6 to 13, I worked odd jobs. Now, from 6 to 13, I would also steal because I was starving. So, once again, as a child, I learned how to get through windows. Now, by the time I was 16 years old, I was quite the break-in artist. Now, at 13 years old, I no longer had to worry about that because my mother was back in the home on a daily basis. So I didn't have to worry about that anymore. So that's why my starvation went from 6 to 13. Well, Ben, I cannot have beans. They will make me vomit even at the smell of them. It's the one thing that I cannot eat under any circumstances. Well, Grace, my mother was a trophy wife. You know, this is where I understand you better than other people. I had difficult parents from both sides. And as I'm filtering out realities from people's fictions, I see that you were in a bad situation. You grew up as best as you can, and both of your parents are, well, less than stellar. Now, my parents were probably less than that because by 12 years old, my parents went away for like 3 months at a time. Now, another thing, I was always a genius. I mean, I got up myself to school from 6 years old on. I was always a little adult. Now, my therapist told me, Roger, you did not have a childhood. Now, I am assigned a task by the therapist, and it's to play. Yes, I am ordered by a therapist to play. Now, that's kind of odd because usually people need to get to the grindstone. But yes, as a part of my therapy, I am ordered to play. Well, Grace, most men are irresponsible. Now, once again, you have perceptions of the world, but I'll point it out as life goes on. I mean, there's times I can be quite irresponsible. Now, I'm trying to think of the last time. It's been a long time thinking about it. So I guess I'm kind of good because it's been a long time. I can't quite think of when the last time I was severely irresponsible, but I know in my lifetime I've had some doozies. I guess I'm just trying to repress them. Oh, Grace, they are. I mean, seriously. I mean, people come to me all the time for advice. Seriously. Now, one of my YouTube fames is if you give me a mystery, I will solve it for you. And that's where some of the large YouTubers might contact me in DM and basically give me a mystery to solve. And I enjoy doing things like that. And I'll solve their puzzle, hand it off back to them, and no one else on YouTube will know any of the different because, as I said, anything in private DM with me always is private. Damn, Ben Pindar got you. See you in 5 minutes. Now, actually, Ben, Grace just wants a friend. Now, once again, through therapy, I am mentally in my mid 30s. Now, the world is not fair, and I have the body of a 30-year-old. Now, in 1 week from now, I will be 55. If anyone can believe it. It'll let you look at me in the light. But yes, in 1 week, I will be 55 years old. Well, yes. Now, see, once again, Ben gets his ideas. But, Grace and I have already talked. And we both understand we're friends. I mean, and that's it. We can be friends. Now, we could develop into good friends, but, we're starting off with being friends and not adversaries. Now, a person history starts when they were born, and Grace's starts in 2002. And you see, now I'll let you in on this, Grace. You see, I just did an entire presentation on life's history. That is my history since you have been born. And your history starts at 2002. Mine starts in 1968. Now, Grace, if you were born when I was, you would have been a little hippie chick. No doubt. And I used to have, when I was young, I used to get horrible crushes on all the little hippie chicks you could possibly imagine. Well, you would have, back then, you would have been. Just saying. You would have ended up a hippie chick. Now, hippie chicks were pretty cool. Just saying. But the world was more friendly then. You could walk down your street and you could make new friends. And you used to all the time. And in the late 80s and the early 90s, the media wanted to try to scare everyone. And then everyone stopped talking to each other. But it used to be a completely different world. But, we can have something like that on YouTube. Because once again, people feel safer online. Even though, well, you're safe as long as you don't live near Jimbo. Just saying. Because he'll come to your house with a gun. Well, at least mine anyway. And then he'll call the cops and run away. I'm going to laugh at Jimbo all night. I mean, seriously. Well, I turned 18 in 1986. Now, when I was your age, now I'll tell you what now once again, this is going to be telling on Roger. Now, when I was your age, Grace, I sold pot. I mean, that was my job. I worked 3 nights a week. And that's it. And I lived a good life and I could buy whatever I wanted. Now, how this worked. My friend worked at a pet land. Now, he knew the manager that worked there. Now, his manager was a stoner too. And his manager also sold pot also. So, what we used to do 3 times a week, we would take the night's deposit from Petland. And in the middle of the night, we would buy a gigantic amount of marijuana. And then we would parcel it all out, sell it before morning, have the deposit done, and in the bank by 9 a.m. And I did that 3 times a week with my accomplices. Now, because we were able to buy marijuana at such a huge amount, we were able to discount it. So we could give people discount weed at 25% off if you just did business with us in the middle of the night. And that's what I did at 20 years old. I mean, telling on myself. I embezzled money with friends. We sold weed. And life was a big party. And then after that, I took law enforcement 1 and 2 in college. And I became the armed security guard. That was 21. But right at your age was when I was wrapping up selling weed at Petland. And I was starting to go straight. And I went to college and took law enforcement 1 and 2 and was trying to get a job as a guard and trying to find the love of my life. Now, another interesting fact you'll find, Grace, I have never been married. I have been engaged more than once, and I have never, ever been married. So, I mean, that kind of catches you up, but, that's some interesting Roger facts. Now, Jimbo Collins, that guy we were talking about earlier, interesting facts about him. He married a 12-year-old. I mean, literally, when he was almost 18, he married a 12-year-old. That was the guy that came to try to kill me today. The guy that married a 12-year-old. Now, it didn't work out with the 12-year-old. Big surprise. And he got a divorce. And then he abducted a 15-year-old and fled to another state with her. And didn't bring her back until her parents promised not to press charges. Yes, Jason. Well, maybe, Grace, maybe. I have studied all religions, and I came to a conclusion that all religion is looking at God through a straw. You don't really see a good picture of God when you're looking through a straw. So that's why I look more towards greater truths of the divine than we might consider religious dogma. For example, if I'm looking at God through the straw and I see a pretty painted toenail, I can make assumptions from that. And I can assume that God is a God of beauty. But once again, it's like the fish. A fish is in a two-dimension environment. It can't perceive everything around it. We are in three dimensions and a fourth dimension of time. So we exist in a fourth dimensions of existence. God exists outside of it. So we're just like fish. So any attempts at looking at or defining God is doing nothing but looking at God through a straw. And now you kind of understand where I stand with theology. Well, like I say, you have perception. Now, I did once try to help another young lady on YouTube called Playmate Tessie, but she ended up too much of a narcissist. So I had to stop talking to her. But she and I didn't ever talk outside of YouTube. And she also might be another person for you to cover and possibly even fight with. Now, once again, YouTube feuds are good for subscribers. I mean, I've gained over 40 today. And that is basically how I gain my subscribers. I don't even try. But it's some of it is because I'm a known quantity. If I had a computer and did regular video, I would have a large channel, but I wouldn't be doing anything I wanted to do. I'm checking, making sure I didn't miss anything important. I'm not paying as close to my attention as my chat as I should. Well, Grace, the computer's not overly important for me, honestly. Now, you don't know this, Grace, but I don't even have water service. You know, I have been left here to die. I mean, when COVID happened, all of my support people basically gave me the big F you and left me to die. That's why I don't get therapy anymore. Because all of those people for years at therapy that said, you're important to us. We care. When COVID came, they left me to die. Yep. You know, I do all my dishes with rainwater. I bathe with rainwater. I mean, I live a pretty marginal existence. And I don't even have a monetized channel. Hello, monkey boy. Well, Grace, I will help you because, once again, you know, you, I think, can be very entertaining to people. Now, I know another female YouTuber you remind me a little of called Weibo Jones. And I was a newer YouTuber then. And I guess she had like 8 or 9,000 subscribers. And we had a debate. And she has mostly a young male audience. And I'm trying to be delicate because this is funny and off color at the same time. And I turned out to be wrong. Now, she was telling me that there is a large amount of people that were in her chat pleasuring themselves. And I said, nah, I gave humanity faith. You know, I learn more when I'm wrong. And as I said, no. Now, you know those fish eyes? She was pretty. You know, you and her have some physical similarities. And she took that fish eye in the middle of her presentation and put right over her face. And the entire chat explode. Unsubscribe. Because they were sitting there fornicating with themselves. And when she put that fish eye over, she basically blew it for them. And that's how she proved to me that she was right and I was wrong. And I went, wow, I miscalled that. And I mean, I had faith in humanity. And then I didn't. But yes, Grace, I mean, once again, I mean, we were joking, you know, friendly, just like you know, right. And once again, she proved her point. And And that was the last time I was blatantly 150% wrong. That was the last time that I picked a hill and died on it. And it was funny too. I mean, it's like, wow. Now, on my other channel, I did find if I do YouTube without a shirt, I get 20% more views. So some of that does happen here. So once again, Grace, I want you to be ready for that in your chat, because there are going to be an X amount of people on your channel that will be fapping to you as you do your business. Now, it's like that with all of us. I mean, it's not just the pretty girls. I mean, girls do their fap thing here, and Melton's probably fapping to me now. You know, just say it. Yeah, now I'm about to make myself red and embarrassed laughing. Comfort kitty, comfort kitty. Comfort kitty. You comfort kitty. You like looking at yourself? Well, that's interesting. The kitty, it calms the kitty seeing itself. I will have to remember that. Yes, that's when it's Summer's 3. She had 3 that looked just like her. No tails. Hello, No Fear. Well, Grace, I have now. Once again, I do have my own sins. Now, I smoke marijuana for my seizures, and that's the only reason I smoke marijuana. Because now, yeah, when we talk about my life horror story, I had a bad gallbladder as a kid. At 5 years old, I kept telling my mother, my tummy hurts, my tummy hurts. You just don't want to go to school, and she would take the back of her hand with the rings and right across my face. My gut hurt. By 15, I started having full-blown gallbladder attacks. I didn't get that gallbladder out until I was 42 because the doctor misdiagnosed me. When I was about 15 years old and having the gallbladder attacks, they said it was all in my head because they didn't want to contradict a doctor. And they put me on Xanax. And we learned something, that I cannot do that kind of drug because it makes me evil. I mean, you put me on like a pain pill for over a week or something like Xanax, you will see the person that you like become evil. And it's all the drug. So I can't even take a pain pill. Now, I could probably take pain pills for a few days. But because of the risk of it, I don't even. You know, anything that's kind of a drug, it has to stay out of my life because it messes me up here. And it makes me evil. Well, that's what I generally do is, I've got a bowl right here. Now, there's only a couple hits in it because I don't smoke that much. I don't smoke over 3 grams a day. That's kind of my tops, which that would be 1 to 3 joints a day. And I just split it up in a pipe and a hit here or there and really barely feel it. But it helps my condition because my condition has been really bad. That's why I've not been uploading. Fortunately for me, I'm on an upswing right now. But for weeks, I've been pretty bad off. Well, take care, Grace. Have a good night. Oh, God, it's 10:20 already. Now, I have been doing YouTube drama all day. But yeah, I didn't realize it was that late. I mean, I've not even had breakfast today. I mean, it's like I woke up with YouTube drama. Damn, I'm kind of, about to yell at myself. I mean, 10:20 and I have not even ate breakfast yet. uh, but yes, have a good night, Grace. But I'm surprised that it's so late. I mean, but when I get to YouTube, time goes quick. Oh, yeah, we've been on for over an hour. Now, for me, it only seems like, I've been on for about a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. But obviously, I've been on at least double that. So I guess we're going to go here in just a little bit. But, once again, I did promise when I had that vid earlier, I did promise content. And as you can see, Jimbo fled. He called the cops and he ran away. And he will never be able to get from around that fact. Let me think. Today is 4 days. 4 days ago, I had 2 seizures. The day before that, I had 3 seizures. So I've not had any seizures in a few days. Well, oddly, I'm not hungry. I mean, this is where it's weird to me. I should be starved to death, but it's 10:20 and I guess I'm living off love. I guess that's it. But yes, I mean, I've not had nothing. Now, I will go make something here for a minute. And Gray was nice enough to get me a grill, a real nice desktop grill. So, I can cook some burgers pretty quick if I want. And that's probably what I'll do, because I can cook some burgers and they'll be done in about 15, 20 minutes and then I can eat. Well, I guess, YouTube schizophrenic. Jimbo is filling. Well, there's 3 of them down here, Gray. I mean, yeah, but like I say, there's 3 of them. Before I go, let me mute. Mute. There we go. I'm putting them back somewhere. I'm putting them back. I swear I'm putting them back. Summer's over here. Give me stink eye. Say, Summer, give me stink eye. I love you, Summer. There you go, babies. She says, don't touch my babies. But yes, I do. Now, heat and cold tend to be my worst 2 triggers. Really, really hot and really, really cold. But we'll talk about that some other time. But I just wanted to show everyone that I'm alive and fine, and because Jimbo's going to make up shit, because that's what he does. Now, everyone, thank you for coming and have a good night.